In this video, we're looking at midpoints and perpendicular bisectors. The first question says find the midpoint of the line segment joining -1, -2 and 7, -9. So we've got 2 points. We've got -1, -2, and we've got 7, -9. And we've got a line segment joining them together. We want to know where the middle of this line is, so we go halfway between the x's and halfway between the y's. So halfway between -1 and 7, and halfway between -2 and -9. A way of doing that quickly is to add up the x's and half them, and add up the y's and half them. So we've got -1 plus 7 halved, and we've got -2 plus -9, I'll just write -9, halved. So 7 take away 1 is 6, half of that is 3. -2 take away another 9 is -11, half of that I'll just write -11 over 2. So that's the midpoint of the line segment. One for you to try, so give it a go. So halfway between the x's, halfway between the y's, so we can add them up and divide by 2. So the x's and the y's, add them up, divide by 2. -3 plus 5 is 2, half of 2 is 1. 10 over 2 is 5. So the midpoint is at 1, 5. The line segment AB is a diameter of a circle. A and B have the coordinates 3, 2 and -5, 9 respectively. Find the coordinates of the center. So the middle of the diameter is the center of the circle, so it's the same question as the last one. So find the midpoint of A and B. So add them up, add up the x's and half them, add up the y's and half them. So -5 plus 3 is -2, half of that is -1. 2 plus 9 is 11, 11 over 2, I'll just write as 11 over 2. So there's the center of the circle. One for you to try. The center of the circle is the midpoint of the diameter, so add up the x's and half them. Add up the y's and half them. So we have 3 and -7 over 2. The line segment joining 3, -4 and AB has the midpoint 7, -1. Find the values of A and B. So there's a few ways of doing this. We could use the formula we just used. So add up the x's and half them, add up the y's and half them, equals 7, -1. Or I could say the midpoint must be halfway. So I could go the distance from my first point to the midpoint. How far do I have to go to get from 3, -4 to 7, -1? And then add that on again. So if I've got a point and a midpoint, whatever this distance is from the first point to the midpoint must be the same distance again. So either one of those methods, I'll go how far to the mid. So we've got 3, -4. This diagram might not be accurate. And 7, -1. So how far along the x's? 3 to 7 means I've gone 4 along. And from -4 to 1 means I've gone up 3. The diagram's not too bad. And then it's going to have to be 4, 3 again. So add 4 onto 7, which gets me to 11. Add 3 onto -1, gets to 2. So A and B must be 11 and 2. If I use the formula, so I said add up the x's and divide by 2. I'll do this in a different color. We should get the same answer. So 3 plus a divided by 2. And negative 4 plus b divided by 2 must be equal to 7 negative 1. I could just solve these equations. So 3 plus a over 2 must be 7. And negative 4 plus b over 2 must be negative 1. So if I double both sides, for the first one, I'll have 3 plus a equals 14. Take away 3 from each side, a equals 11. And double both sides again, negative 4 plus b must be negative 2. Add 4 to both sides, b must be 2. So either of those methods work out just fine. One for you to try, give it a go. So the line segment joining negative 5, 7 and AB has the midpoint 3, 2. We need to find A and B. So we've got the point negative 5, 7. We've got 3, 2 as the midpoint. The midpoint must be exactly halfway. And my other point is A, B. So how far do I move on the X? And how far on the Y to get to the middle? Negative 5 to 3 is 8. 7 to 2 is down 5. So from the midpoint, I want to go along 8 and down 5 again. So 3 plus 8 is 11. 2 take away 5, negative 3. Find the perpendicular bisector of negative 2, 3 and 3, 13. So I've got 3, 13, negative 2, 3. So a perpendicular bisector is a line that's perpendicular. So it's at a 90-degree angle to this line. And it goes through the midpoint. So it goes through the middle of the line. It's perpendicular. That means it's at a 90-degree angle. And it's a bisector, which means it cuts the line in half. So we need to find the midpoint. We need to find what this point is, which we can do by going halfway between the x's and halfway between the y's. Then we're also going to have to find the gradient. So we can find the gradient of the original line, and then flip a minus, do the negative reciprocal to find the gradient of the perpendicular line. So one step at a time. Let's find the midpoint first. So the midpoint, halfway between the x's, halfway between the y's. So we've got negative 2 plus 3 over 2. And 3 plus 13 over 2. So that's our 1/2 and 8. So that's the midpoint. We can work out the gradient of the original line. If we do x1, y1, x2, y2, and the gradient is the change in the y's, y2 minus y1, over the change in the x's, x2 minus x1, so minus 2. So that is 10 over 5, which is 2. So the gradient is 2. I've clearly got a very inaccurate diagram. The gradient is 2. So the perpendicular gradient, so I'll put gradient 2. The perpendicular gradient is a negative reciprocal. So flip a minus, minus 1/2. The two gradients, the perpendicular gradients, have to multiply to give negative 1. It's a negative reciprocal. So now we know the gradient, and we know a point for our line. So we can find the equation. The equation of a line we can do as the gradient times x minus x1 equals y minus y1. And we've got x1, y1, and the gradient. That's going to be minus a half times x minus a half equals y minus 8. And then from there, we can rearrange it to put it in any form we're asked for. Y equals mx plus c, or ax plus by plus c equals 0. Either one. But I'm just going to leave it here for now. I'm not going to rearrange it. I'm just going to leave it as it is. One for you to try. Give it a go. So we want the perpendicular bisector. So we need to have the gradient and the midpoint. So the midpoint, 2 plus 8 halved, which is 5, and 4 plus 7 halved, which is 5.5, or 11 over 2. So 5, 11 over 2. That's our point that the line goes through. The gradient of the original line, x1, y1, x2, y2. So the gradient is the change in the y's, y2 minus y1, 7 take away 4, over x2 minus x1, 8 minus 2. So that's 3 over 6, which is a half. So the perpendicular gradient is a negative reciprocal of a half, which is negative 2. Flip a minus. So now we know x1, y1, and m. So we can use m times x minus x1 equals y minus y1. So we've got negative 2 times x minus 5 equals y minus 11 over 2. And then if we want to, we can put it in the form y equals mx plus c, or ax plus by plus c equals 0. So expand the bracket, minus 2x plus 10 equals y minus 11 over 2. If I want it in the form y equals mx plus c, I just need to plus 11 over 2 to both sides. So I've got 10 is the same as 20 over 2. So 20 over 2 plus 11 over 2 will be 31 over 2. So y equals minus 2x plus 31 over 2, or 15.5. So 10 plus 5.5 is 15.5.